And greetings, everybody. I am Ashley, and this is Ashley in the Beer Cave. Hope this finds everybody well. I hope you had a good week, start to your weekend. If you're in the Panama City Beach area, the Beach Jeep Jam is in full swing. It's going to be a gorgeous day, so drop those tops, take those doors off, go have some fun. Later on today, I believe one of my grandsons and I are going to go out and enjoy it, check it out. As I like to call it, we're going to go outrun the cops and chase wild women. On this week's podcast, we're going to kind of go over some news items, weird news, strange news, stuff that you might not have heard of, and there's stuff that you probably did hear about. I'm sure that everybody has heard about the Colonial Pipeline shutdown. But probably what you didn't hear is the ransomware gang accused of crippling the Colonial Pipeline on Monday said that it never meant to create havoc. An unusual statement that experts saw as a sign of the cyber criminal scheme had gone awry. The FBI accused the group that calls itself DarkSide of digital extortion attempt that prompted Colonial to shut down its network. No word at this time of how much they were trying to get, but in their statement read, "We did not mean to cause havoc." Wow. Isn't that what terrorists are supposed to do, cause havoc and extort money? What kind of group is this? It's not a peaceful protesters. Anyway, later this week, along the same lines, they were paid $5 million, but the hacker group DarkSide, which was responsible for the ransomware attack, has now been hacked. All their money is gone. Servers were seized, money of advertisers and founders were transferred to an unknown account. Nobody can find it. The current administration said that announced Thursday that the Justice Department has launched a new task force that specifically will prosecute ransomware hackers to the full extent of the law. Seems to me you have to know where they're at, who you're dealing with, before you can prosecute anybody. I'm guessing at that. I'm not a legal expert. In other news this week, the Guinness World Record holder for the largest collection of fast food toys said his collection has now doubled to 20,000 toys. A gentleman in the Philippines was awarded the Guinness World Record in 2014 when his collection of kids' meal toys from eateries tallied at 10,000, but now today is 20,000. He said his eventual goal to use the collection to start a museum for fast food toys. Man, that's a lot of fast food, and that's a lot of Whoppers. Holy moly. Does this guy not know how to cook? And for you wine individuals, the auction house Christie's has announced a bottle of French wine that spent more than a year aging in the International Space Station is expected to sell for about $1 million. The bottle, Petrus 2000, was one of a dozen bottles of wine that were launched into orbit in 2019 and spent nearly 440 days in space before being brought back to Earth. So if you want an out-of-this-world wine, $1 million could be yours. Talking about out of this world, the debris from a huge section of a Chinese rocket re-entered the Earth's atmosphere over the Indian Ocean. The U.S. Space Command said it confirmed that the rocket re-entered over the Arabian Peninsula. It is unknown if the debris impacted land or water. A Chinese rocket. They can send the world into a pandemic, but they can't keep a rocket in orbit. Come on, guys. Good Lord. And in Detroit, admitting that the idea may be doomed from the start, a local man who planned to propose at a Detroit Tigers game on Friday said was scuttled by the team's 13-1 loss. I was so nervous and excited, but after they gave up the two-run homer in the second, I figured I'd wait until things got a little bit more cheerful. He was still hoping for a comeback to rescue his plans, even as the Tigers were down by 8 in the fifth, and his girlfriend had started looking at her phone. By the sixth inning, she was asking if they could leave. So I figured he'd missed his chance. I don't want this marriage to start off on the wrong foot. So he waved off the Jumbotron guy. Their section was completely empty, and it was just brutal. It was reported that he had been driving around Metro Detroit for 8 hours looking for a place pretty enough to propose on a walk the next weekend. Detroit? Man, are you sure you want to do that? Take a fake ring just in case you get mugged in the park. I'm just saying, that's a rough town, I believe. Anyway, this is Ashley. This is Ashley in the Beer Cave, and we'll be right back after this short message. Biker's Edge, your riding apparel, is located at 8121 Gilchrist Avenue, Panama City. Their phone number is 850-624-6206. They have all your Second Amendment shirts, patches, and pins and caps. With all this craziness in the world today, let others know where you stand. Biker's Edge. And if you're military with your ID, you get a 10% discount. Their hours are Wednesday through Sunday, 10 to 5. Make sure you give her a call before you go. And be sure to let Pat know that I, Ashley, sent you to see them. Biker's Edge, all your riding apparel that you'll ever need. And if they don't have it, Pat will get it for you. Now, a news story from Menlo Park, California. Stressing that the issue was out of his hands and far beyond the scope of topics he was equipped to address, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook asked the Facebook Oversight Board to rule on whether the argument he had with his wife was her fault. Zuckerberg called upon Facebook's most trusted advisor to determine whether his wife made some good points or was just being a total bitch about it. The board is comprised of 20 esteemed lawyers, scholars, and former politicians, and had been provided with all the relevant information, including his wife's tone, snide comments, and how she knew what buttons to push when she was presenting her side of the story. Zuck. I'm sure his friends call him Zuck. I don't know Mark Zuck, but I'm going to call him Zuck. Dude, really? You haven't figured out the word yes, dear? Suck it up, Buttercup. Like the rest of us, we don't have 20 esteemed lawyers on payroll to tell us whether our wife is right or wrong. Do you have any big boy pants? Zuck, put them on. Good grief, man. I'm not even going through that anymore. Holy cow. Now, in London this week, it's announced in less than a week, people in England are now able to give friends and family a hug for the first time since restrictions were put in place last March on the onset of the coronavirus. Who polices that? Is there a hug police? Wow, okay. Now you're free to hug. And from Budapest, at Dracula's castle in the picturesque Transylvania, Romanian doctors are not offering a jab in the arm rather than a stake to the heart. A COVID-19 vaccination center has been set up on the property, which was reported to be the inspiration behind Dracula's home in Bram Stoker's 19th century Gothic novel Dracula. Okay, what could go wrong, but I think I'm going to pass on that offer. In Honolulu, a lady was flying from Utah to Hawaii and gave birth. I didn't know I was pregnant. Then this guy came out of nowhere. Wow, it's a baby boy. All seems to be well. There was a doctor and a nurse on the plane, and everybody's in good health. You don't know you're pregnant. Unbelievable. And in Atlanta, a Georgia woman was caught trying to smuggle $40,000 worth of cocaine in multiple pairs of shoes through the Atlanta airport. Officers stopped the 21-year-old on Sunday after she arrived on a flight from Jamaica. Her bags were inspected and 7 pairs of shoes were found to have the powdery white substance concealed in their bottoms. Funny story about that. My wife and I were traveling from Fort Worth, Texas to Seattle. Being from Florida, and we were going to a family reunion, my wife thought it would be a good idea to take some white sand and shells for all of our nieces and nephews to make a little project. She carried it on in a carry-on bag and immediately was stopped and was informed that she would need to be searched and her bags to be searched, and that bag of sand had to be tested. Now I'm just guessing they took it in the back room. I don't know how they tested it, but he got a surprise if he snorted it. Anyway, don't smuggle sand through any airport. They also red flagged her and she got the body search on the way back to Fort Worth. In other airport news, in Minnesota, or Minneapolis, authorities said a 9-year-old boy found his way onto a conveyor belt baggage handling system at the St. Paul International Airport and was reportedly not injured. Airport spokesman said the incident happened on a Saturday afternoon as a group of 20 people were checking their bags for a trip they were taking together, and the little youngster found his way onto the conveyor belt to go for a ride. Once he was noticed he was missing, he was quickly found unharmed. I guess that kid saw the TSA line and figured he wasn't going to stand in it, and that's how he was going to bypass it. And in other news, according to a statement provided to the Tennessean, Chick-fil-A said due to industry-wide supply chain disruptions, some Chick-fil-A restaurants are experiencing a shortage of select items like sauces. We are actively working to make adjustments to solve this issue and apologize to our guests for any inconvenience. I'm going to tell you right now, if Taco Bell runs out of sauces, it will be mayhem and worldwide panic. Taco Bell do not run out of sauce. And in Ohio, a man is accused of stealing 14 cases of beer. According to the local police department, a man loaded up a cart with 14 cases of beer at a Kroger store, and then police said he attempted to return it, stating his wife bought the wrong kind of beer. The Kroger employees tried to confirm the man's story, but then the man became angry and left the store with the beer. Kroger employees are reviewing the surveillance footage, and they're trying to identify the man. How do you not catch a dude going down the road with 14 cases of beer in a shopping cart? Oh well, he's got 14 cases of beer on the wall. 14 cases of beer. All right, well, that's all I have for this week. I'm glad you all stopped by. I am Ashley, and this is Ashley in the Beer Cave. Again, I want to thank everybody for listening, all 2 of you.